What would you say the number one thing your teen really, really wants? Okay, so I'm sure things are coming to your mind right now that, oh yeah, they definitely would want that really cool car, or they really, really want, the number one thing that they really want is, you know what, that new dress for the next dance, those cool shoes. They want what? You can put it in the chat even right now. What you would say the number one thing that your teen really, really, really wants. Okay, so hey, I'm Shawna Partlow and I'm a teen relationship coach, and I help parents, okay, connect with their teens so that you can talk about all issues. All right, so the issue today is just that. That is going to be our issue, okay, which is, what would you say the number one thing is that your teen really wants? So I'm just going to tell you, okay, because you may have guessed it already, but maybe not. And that number one thing that your teen actually really truly wants, aside from the tangible and aside from maybe the many things that you've guessed and that you're thinking about, but when I say this, you're probably going to be like, oh, maybe it's going to be a revelation to you. Maybe you're going to be like, what? Really? They do? So that number one thing that your teen really, truly wants and is looking for and that really desires is control. So that might surprise you. Some of you might be thinking, what? Wow, really? I would not have thought that. But really? Really? Did you not think that? You know, just kind of think about that. Take some moments and look back, or maybe even for something that just happened today. And now that you're thinking about it, you might be thinking, okay, now I do see what you're talking about, Shawna. And I do understand what it is that you're saying, that they want control. Now, I'm not saying that they want to be controlling, because that is two different things, isn't it? Someone who wants to be controlling, which, hey, by the way, I do have another video, okay, about that. Hey, is your teen controlling you? So that's a video you can check out even, okay? And, but that's not what I'm saying. I'm not even talking about that today. I'm talking about the issue of control, okay? Your teen wants more control of their own life, okay? Not because they want to control your life per se, okay? Like I said, there's another video, all right, for you to check out and to look at. But I'm talking about just their own life. And you should want them to want that, more control of their life, okay? And that's the aspect of, because hey, they're growing into adults, aren't they? Yes. And it should not be that you just do everything for them and you tell them what to do, you tell them how to think, you make all these appointments. You know, as they get older, you know, you should not be making appointments for them when they're 20 some years old. You should not be doing so many things that you do maybe for them right now, okay? Because they're not little anymore, all right? And in order for them to progress and become the adult that you should want them to become, then you have to release and relinquish control, all right, that maybe you have had, mom and dad, all right, just because that's just the way it has been. And maybe you haven't raised a teenager before, and now, you know, you gotta just, you know, it's a hard situation. It's a hard place to be because you're learning as well, okay? So that's why, hey, that's why I'm here, okay? To help you through this process, to help you through these things that you, mom, dad, have to go through as well. Your teen goes through them, and so do you. And it's just as hard for you sometimes as it is the teenager. So something I'm going to give you, okay, I'm going to give you a few, just kind of like two different things, okay, that you might want to think about, okay? And is what I want to do is just to give you two, all right, things that may help you to release some control that maybe you have held on to. And maybe you don't even realize that you are holding on to it yourself, okay? Because like I said, this can be just as hard on you as it is the parent, because your teen wants to soar and spread their wings and fly like a peacock, okay? But then sometimes you're like holding on to them and like, hey, you're far enough now. Now that's enough of that flying. Now you better bring that little self back over here, okay? Because we want to do this to them and protect them. It's like, okay, that's enough. You don't need to do that anymore. And we want to be the ones constantly telling them, you know, things and what to do and where to go and how to do it and how to handle it and how to act and how to behave. When at certain levels, we do have to instill those things, right? As your teen is becoming a teenager, it's a whole different aspect now. Now that they are a teenager, they're something different now. Now they want to do things a little differently, okay? And this here, I'm going to give you 2 things, all right, to help you with things that maybe you need to let go of, okay? So one, something, and I'll just say something to, and these are things to think about, okay? So I'm not even necessarily saying that this is what you're doing, okay? And oh my gosh, every parent does this, because that's not necessarily true. But if you do know someone that is doing this stuff, hey, you know what? Share this video with them, all right, as you watch this yourself. So something to let go of, okay, is this. Mom, Dad, if you are constantly telling your teen what to do, and you're like, what? Well, of course I'm constantly telling them what to do, because, oh my golly, if I wasn't constantly telling them what to do, then absolutely nothing would ever get done, period. And hey, I get it. I totally understand. I know what you're saying, because I have been there, done that. So I know, like, thinking about that, like, yeah, I wish I didn't have to tell them what to do all the time. So this particular one, okay, in the telling them what to do, all right, maybe doing the dishes, all right, picking up after themselves. Hey, put your shoes away, hang up your coat, pick your towel up off the floor, shut the refrigerator door already, stop standing in the refrigerator, and shut the front door. Do we live in a barn? Whatever the circumstance, whatever the thing, because that list is a very long list, and it goes on and on and on and on and on and on, which it's like never ending. So yeah, you do have to tell them sometimes what to do, okay? And to the point to where I know it gets infuriating. You're like, oh my golly, it'd be great if I didn't have to tell them what to do all the time and they just do it. Yeah, that would be great, wouldn't it? Maybe someday. But probably not anytime soon. I know, okay. But anyway, if that is what you have to do, okay? Telling them what to do all of the time. Oh my golly. So one thing that can possibly help in that situation is that you get a dry eraser board, okay? And sometimes they even have them already Monday through Sunday already built in that. And if not, then you get one and put Monday through Sunday on there and make columns, all right? Put some names on there and involve your teen in this process that I'm going to be telling you. In this, then you sit down with your teen and hey, you know what? Let's, you put the things that need to be done, okay? Either you write them out on the paper, you write them on that board, put them on the bottom, wherever you want to put them, okay? These are the things that I think we need to have done in our house. Hey, what do you think, Johnny? Okay, what needs to be done? What do you think, Linda Lou, what needs to be done? Okay, so you can ask them that. And again, you got to check your own attitude, because I know, like, man, nothing can tick you off more than your teenager, right? In a matter of a millisecond, totally everything's fine, and then bam, that little millisecond, and no one makes you more mad and angry than that person, that teen in your life. So you got to just calm yourself down, and you have to be thinking about, okay, you know what, we're just gonna have a talk with this, and you can make it fun, because nobody likes the killjoy and nobody wants to be told what to do. And when you're thinking about the things that, what do we need to do in our house? What and you can call them chores, but I wouldn't call them chores, okay? Your teenager, it's like, just that fact just rubs you wrong instantly. And you call it what you want, but you can just say, we really need to come together and make a list of things that we need to have done in our home. So what do you think that is, all right? They make a list, maybe you guys make a list and compare the list together. But the point is, you're involving your teen. If your teen has a crappy attitude, you're like, well, this is dumb. Why would I want to do that? This is so stupid. I can't believe I'm doing that. Well, you know what? Do it anyway, okay? You gotta laugh about it, let them have their moment, and then you keep doing it. And then you just put the paper in front of them and you say, well, hey, you know what? Let's make a list though, okay? You're gonna make your list, I'm gonna make my list. So then you still do that. And then you get that board, and then you guys decide together, okay? Who wants to do what day do you want to do these things on, And you know what? And actually, even how much time do you think that'll take you? You know, I don't know. What do you think? So you do that, and that should help with that particular having to tell them what to do, you know, all the time. You know, they know it's their turn for dishes, and then sometimes you might have to say, you might need to refer back to the board, okay? But this will definitely, it really will help you, okay, in determining and pulling that constant telling them what to do. Because sometimes your teen's just lazy. That's another video I have, okay, that you can check out as well. And so that's one thing that you can definitely do, okay? So another thing, so when I'm talking about control, here's another thing that I'm actually even referring to is this. In the midst of, you know, the telling them what to do, and your teen wants more control of their own life, okay, which again, it should be that way. They should want that. You should be wanting to give that to them. So this other type of control is the telling them what to do in the midst of like a circumstance, okay? There's something that comes up and you're just constantly telling them, right? Basically how to fix it all the time. And then you get mad because, oh my gosh, if they would just listen to me, then this wouldn't even happen. Because is what you're doing, your teen wants to figure some things out for themselves. And again, that is a good thing. You should want them to want to do that, okay? They don't want to be babied. They want to be treated like an adult. But in order to be treated like an adult, they have to learn how to become an adult. So what kind of adult are you wanting your teenager to be? What kind of adult are you teaching them how to be? Okay, so when you don't let them figure things out for themselves ever, well, they're not going to know how to, are they? If they can't think for themselves and go through some things and process some things like, oh, wow, okay, now I understand that. Because a lot of times, even though you're trying to tell them what to do and this would be better, and if you just do it this way, their brain just cannot grasp what you're saying. So then here's a few things, okay, that you can do to help you in this situation. One thing you can say is this: hey, can I make a suggestion? And they might be like, no, you can't, because they're mad and they're angry, okay? So if you're gonna say that, hey, can I make a suggestion? Then if they say no, then you need to like, zippy the lippy, and hey, if you gotta walk away, then walk away. But you cannot get mad at them because you asked and they responded, and it might not be the answer that you want. You can't, well, I just want to suggest something. Oh my gosh, why do you gotta be like that? You know, because who's acting like what then? All right. Remember who's the parent? Who's the parent here? And how is the parent, okay, parenting? All right, because you lead by example. It doesn't matter what you think, what even anyone says. You, mom, dad, lead by example. Okay, so the way you are acting yourself, okay, sometimes it's hard. It's a hard situation and it's difficult, and you got to maybe run out of the room. Okay, but then again, check your own attitude. All right. Because how are you saying these things? How what's coming out of your mouth and the way your tone is. So if they say no, hey, again, all right, you got to totally be all right with that. And then, you know, just go do something else. And because they may come back to you and say, you know what, you had a suggestion on what you thought I should do. You know, they might come back and say that. Okay, it might not be later that day. It might be 2 weeks later. All right. So then is your chance to say, all right, okay. But see, you gave them some control, didn't you? To say, hey, can I make a suggestion? They said no. So then you said, okay, you know what? All right. You got to be okay with that. And then you let them have some control in the situation. So another thing you can say to them in a situation is, instead of telling them what to do, how to think, how to handle the situation and every situation, okay, then you have to make sure that you are listening to them, listening to what they're saying, all right, and just giving sometimes just a listening ear. You know, if they have the situation and they're a little bit ticked off and annoyed and everything like that, it's like, wow, okay, then you just bounce off a conversation with them, okay? Not anything, again, that you have to fix, not anything that you have to make right, because you don't, all right? Sometimes just listening to what they are saying and engaging in that conversation, not something in the sense of like, well, what did you do? Well, how come they did that? You know, just listening. Wow, okay, man, all right. Just kind of nodding your head, because sometimes that just helps them, okay? be in control of their own life a little bit more, all right? Because that really is what they want. So another thing that you can say, okay, as if you, when you are doing those things, talking to them, is to make sure, you know, like in the midst of them wanting more control of their own life, that they are not compromising boundaries, that they are not compromising standards and values of who they are. Because right now too, even they're trying to find out who they are, okay? But what are your home values? What are your home standards? What are the things that you have raised your teen up to know and to live by? Those structures, that's something that they should not be compromising. But what are those things? Okay, they may not even know what that is. But sometimes because they want all this control, and because sometimes you, mom, dad, have been so controlling that then they just run off and they want to, you know, sow their oats, spread their wings a little bit more than, you know, it's like, oh my gosh, just leave me alone. I just want to go do some stuff. All right. Now, again, you mom, dad, you got to know what your own values are. Okay. And how is it that you are leading your teen in the way that they should go? All right. So you have to get solid with that as well. And for yourself too, not to compromise in the things of the way that you want your family to go. Okay. So that's something you need to be thinking about, because if maybe you haven't had a standard yourself and you haven't really been even too set on what you want for your family, this is an excellent time to even do that right after this video. Okay. Is to determine what those things are. What is it that I really do want my teen to know? What kind of adult do I really want them to be? Okay. And yes, you do have to tell them some things, but not to the point to where you are constantly controlling everything all of the time. Because, hey, you know what? They're going to make decisions. They're going to do some things, and they're going to mess up probably a little bit. But sometimes when you are just so over them, then you know what? Then they want to do those things that they really should not do 10 times more, because there's been no conversation. There's just constantly been, no, you can't, you're not doing this. This is what you do. And you have not given them a voice either. Okay. Your teen wants to talk with you. Okay. They really do. They really, truly do want a relationship with you, mom and dad. They really, really do. But you cannot have a one-sided relationship. The relationship part is what? Communication, talking with each other, not constantly just, this is what you do. You got to do this. You have to do this. You got to do it right now, you know, to where it's like, All right. You have to listen to them. And then you say, okay, in the midst of whatever that circumstance, okay, you need to be thinking to yourself, okay, all right, is what they're choosing, is it really that? Is it really that bad? Are they compromising who they are? Are they compromising values? Because if they aren't, then hey, you know what? Then you got to say, wow, okay, you know what? I'll support you in that. I'll stand with you in that. All right. Okay, it may not be what you have chosen. It may not be the way you would think it should be, but the way that they have wanted, the suggestion that they are putting out there and the things that they're thinking, okay, you know what, I think I might do it this way. And then you say, okay, you know what, you got to let them do that. All right. And in the midst of that, they may come again back to you because you weren't so just like, okay, that they might come to you again and be like, well, you know what, I changed my mind about that. So, but what do you think? What do you think I should do? Okay. Now, hey, that's they're asking you. Okay. They're asking you a question. They want your input, all right? And then you can say, well, here's what I think you should do. So you got to listen to how you are responding. You got to listen to even your own words coming out of your mouth. Well, you know what? Here's a suggestion. You might want to do this. You may want to say this. Maybe you could do this instead of, okay? So if you're getting any value of this, you know, hit like. Hit subscribe, and you can share this. All right. So what I just said, I hope that even registers to you and makes sense to you. Okay. Because that's how you are teaching your super fantastic teenager, all right, how to handle things, how to process things, how to communicate with you, all right? Because as you even get older, you want that relationship. You want that to be a solid, strong relationship with you and your teen. But this is where it starts. This is how you, mom, dad, start to develop that relationship, okay? Because you're showing them how to think about things that they need to be thinking about, okay? Instead of just jumping in and just doing things and just flying off the seat of their pants and then expecting everything just to work out so great and wonderful, because it doesn't always do that, for sure. And sometimes, you know what, they fail hard, but then also sometimes, you know, you don't want your teen down a path that, you know what, that they may not come back from. You know, I know you don't want that. But sometimes when we as mom and dad become so controlling, all right, we do not allow our teenagers to have control over their own life. So you do want that, okay? You do want them to have that. So that is the number one thing that your teenager really truly wants in their life. And that is to be in control of their own life. And again, you should want them to have that and to be that way and to think that way, okay? So I hope this video helps you, and I hope it helped you with maybe some struggles with, oh gosh, you know, some things that maybe you had to let go of, all right? So you can let me know in the chat. You can DM me also to let me know what you think of this video. And if there's other videos that you would want me to make for maybe you and your household, okay? And you and your teen. And I want to say thank you for your time, and definitely thank you for watching. All right, so there's definitely more videos to come, other videos to check out in this channel, and I will definitely see you in the next video.